So I asked people recently how much it costs them to fill up, and I got some staggering responses there on social media. So now I'm wondering, what kind of mileage are you getting? And I don't mean miles per gallon. How much mileage are you getting out of all of this misery, complaining constantly about the price you're paying for gas? You can get a lot of conversation out of this, as I found out on social media. But just like everything else is bigger in Texas, so is our right to complain about this. Because if you look at the last 6 years, we have consumed more gasoline than any other state, even California, which has millions more drivers than we do. We also go through way more fuel than combinations of states that have as many drivers as we do. So we are running up some pretty big totals at the pump, especially with these current prices. Now, if most of us had been asked late last year to put together our budget, we probably would not have set aside almost an extra $1 per gallon for gas money, but that's where we've been. The war with Iran has thrust the price of oil higher, and gas prices follow oil. Now, our collective financial pain with all of this has a flip side, though. The state of Texas also would not have predicted current prices. In fact, last year, when the Comptroller's Office laid out the 2-year budget for this biennium, 2026 and 2027, they assumed oil would be selling for $64 per barrel on the New York Mercantile Exchange. It's been much higher than that. Since the war with Iran started, oil has spent a lot of time in $90 and $100 plus per barrel territory. Now, if that continues, it will be a huge drain on Texas drivers, but a potential windfall for Texas tax collectors, because oil production here is taxed at 4.6%, and that's based on the market value. So if you assumed before that that barrel was going to be worth $64, you thought you'd make about $3 in taxes. But if it turns out to be worth $100, you end up making $4.60. Impressive, huh? Not at all. But multiply that by the number of barrels produced in Texas last year, and you can see how an unexpectedly high price for oil could result in a nice surplus for the state. Impressed now? Of course, oil and the situation in the Middle East are both volatile, so we don't know that it will continue like this. But you can bet that budgeters and spenders in Austin will be looking at this. Of course, they'd need big production numbers to really run up any surplus tax collections. And one interesting note, the January oil output in Texas was the lowest number for a January since 2022, and lower than most of the months that we've seen over the last 4 years. The low February production will likely be revised upward, but this is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Let's close on a happy note. I asked people on social media the best deal they've gotten on gas lately with membership discounts and programs, and there is some hope out there. Well done, some of you. More on that and all of this in my article today, posted on my socials, where I'm sharing some gas price envy to help you possibly stay right at the pump.